Special good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Or should I say good night to everyone around the world and everyone who's locked on, who follow my blogs. And I'm wishing you all a blessed and a beautiful night. So tonight's video, or our calling segment, is we have a special guest from New York. Yay, New York! Who is a special ed teacher who is certified in speaking and dealing with special needs children. So tonight's video is going to be about special needs children. Share the video, tag your friends, tag your sisters, your uncles, anyone you know with a special need kid and needs to hear this in the Caribbean islands. The reason I chose to do this video, and with the assistance of Samantha, it's because we want to help bring a little awareness to third world countries or developing nations that is not equipped to deal with special needs children, especially also autistic children. So I'm glad that everyone is so happy this afternoon. To all the smiley faces, welcome. I am so happy that you all could be so happy to see me. It's an amazing feeling, huh? I know. So special good night, everyone. And we are going to speak about it, right? We're going to speak about that. Hold 1 second. So I'm trying to get her on the phone. And when I get her on the phone, she's going to introduce herself by her first name. She's going to tell you her qualifications and all of that. What makes her qualified to speak about autistic children or special needs children, as we like to say. In America, there's a lot of resources to help autistic children, special needs children. Unfortunately, in third world countries and developing nations, that's kind of hard. And a lot of people does not have the training how to deal with special needs children. So let me get her on the phone and hopefully we could start this interview. Sorry, guys.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon, Samantha. You are live on the extended table, Breaking the Silence with Asha Samaroo. And I introduced you for the ladies to hear what you have to say and what you would like to speak on and the topic we are speaking about today. So the floor is all yours, sweetheart.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Asha, for inviting me here, for having me on your platform and being able to, just speak and shed light on the topic of special education and special needs people. Again, hi, everybody in Trinidad. My name is Samantha. I live in New York. I migrated here many years ago, approximately 20 years ago. With my parents, and for most of my adult life I've been educated in New York, and I currently hold a master's in education, practicing general ed and special education for different age groups. I am also seeking a doctorate, or a DBT, which is a doctor of physical therapy. In my field, I work alongside doctors and specialists, many different types of specialists, including psychologists, different therapists such as physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech therapists. And I just want to further my career and further my knowledge to be able to work with people with special needs and just people in the health field. I'm also a professor, and I recently gained Harvard recognition. So that's a little bit about me and my educational background. So Asha has invited me here to speak about special ed, and I wanted to start with the idea of developing a cross-cultural competence. And what that really means is, in different cultures, there are different attachments, different meanings to the presence of health disorders, at-risk conditions, and/or disabilities. The role of faith comes into may be attached to the parents for sins. Others may see it as a result of some action the mother or father took while the mother was pregnant. Still in other groups, there are causations to mind and body imbalances or in the presence of evil spirits in the child body, so to speak. So the point of that is, not everybody across the globe is accepting, and not everybody across the globe is educated on the matter. And really, we would like Asha's goal here is to try to, she's helping so many women, and we're really trying to shed light on the topic. So, certainly we have to open up minds, and, we have to work hard at getting people to understand. We have the ability of the internet nowadays, so a lot of people can look things up and, just educate themselves. So on that matter, to be able to help, to be able to help your family members specifically, you have to be willing. You have to be accepting. Certainly the views held by families about causation and health or developmental disorders will influence their need or willingness to seek help for intervention. And these views will also affect the degree to which the family elects to participate and the type of participation. So it's very important for family members to, support their children or whoever it is within the family. Sometimes it does take a village to raise a child. I'm sure, I think I got that from Trinidad. And and I really, really believe it as in this field of work. So I'm going to start with different types of disabilities, as you guys may know, some of them, which is vision impairment, deaf or hard of hearing, mental health conditions, intellectual disabilities, acquired brain injury. Of course, there's autism, spectrum disorder, disabilities. There are many more, but that's just to name a few. Now, I want to go into, give me 1 second here. I want to go into autism spectrum disorder and understanding what that is, because a lot of people are being diagnosed with autism, and I am currently a specialist. I am teaching. Again, if I haven't said that, I am a teacher. I'm a special education teacher. I work alongside many specialists, and I have a great team who have really helped me and educate me throughout the years. Beside my years of education, I have really had a good field experience. So I want to talk about autism. So with autism is just basically an umbrella description, which includes autistic disorder, Asperger's syndrome, and atypical autism. That's the delay door. You hearing me, Asha?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Everyone is hearing you.
Okay. So autism affects the way information is taken in and stored in the brain. Very simple. People with autism typically have difficulties in verbal and nonverbal communication, social interactions, and other activities, right? Impairments usually exist across three main areas of functioning. Typically, social interaction, communication, and behavior. Restrictive interest, and there's a lot of repetitive behavior. So I've spoken to Asha about her sister and her friend.
Yes, my sister Crystal. My sister Crystal has a special need son who is he has a speech impairment, and he's very you can't get him to sit for long. It takes her about 45 minutes before she can get him to actually sit for 3 minutes. And also I have a friend on Facebook. Her name is Shahira. She does little blogs to make herself feel a little better, but we come across a lot of bullying to her. She's very intelligent. If you hear her speak, Her words are so precise. She is so intelligent. I love the way she speaks. And then at times you would find that she is being sad because of something at home or someone's bullying her. She repeats herself, but she's an intelligent, beautiful young woman on social media. Her name is Shahira. And if you can assist her, if you can perhaps, shed a little light for people to understand a little more about autism, especially in the Caribbean, third world countries, or developing nations, as we like to call it, it would be greatly helped.
So I will, at the end, I'll touch on something else, but that's why I started with acceptance and developing a cross-cultural competence, because I feel like, we're just not, like you said, some countries and some third world countries, they're just not there yet. And it's not that, they don't want to be there. It's just that, things are not put in place, and they're not, being provided the resources and the accessibility to certain things to be able to know what they need to do and the steps that they need to take. So that's why I started with, developing cross-cultural competence, and again, with the families being very accepting, very helpful, very, open-minded and willing to help other family members, that's very, very important to start with. So for people like your friends, I hope that they do have a good support system where, they do have family members and they do have, even if it's just that one friend, or, as your sister has her son, I hope she, patience is very, very, very important when you're working with special needs children. You have to have patience. You have to say, okay, it's not working right now, but we can try it again later. You have to know when to just leave it alone and come back to it tomorrow. Tend to it for 2 minutes and come back to it in another hour for another 2 minutes. So it takes dedication, and it takes a lot of negotiations with yourself, with the child. So moving on to strategies, I always think that routine works best for me. I've worked with a lot of private cases, and then I've worked with in-classroom cases. And routine, visuals and routine are my two go-to strategies. For example, if you have someone that is nonverbal, as in most cases with people on the autism spectrum disorder, a lot of them are nonverbal. Now, basically, you could compare yourself as to a person in China, and you can't speak Mandarin, right? You can't speak Cantonese, but you're in China. It will become, thank God for Google Translate, but let's say there's no Google Translate. You will become very distressed and very aggravated and frustrated. You can't get a bottle of water. You don't know where the nearest store is. It can be very, very frustrating. So that's how some of these children will feel. And that's why I like to incorporate visuals. Visuals is so important for someone who is nonverbal. There's a system called the PECS. And what PECS is, it's basically, how to put it in my easiest understanding here. So it consists of 6 phases, and it begins by teaching an individual to give a single picture of a desired item or action to a communicative partner. So it's like a picture board, a vision board, a visual board, however you want to call it. I use a binder. I created a binder for the cases that I work with. I created a little binder, and I start off with very few pictures. Now in New York and across America, they have different devices that they use. That it's like an iPad, pretty much, and then they can use that, and then the iPad, like if you click on something, the iPad will basically say it for you. But that's much more like when you graduate from the PECS system. So the PECS system is basically a communicative board, and the system goes on to teach discrimination of pictures and how to put them together in sentences And in the more advanced phases, individuals are taught to use modifiers, answer question, and comments. So I always start with routine and pictures. And you would be surprised how just the same thing at the same day, at the same time, how much of a difference, and the visuals, how much of a difference that would make. For example, for a student that cannot sit, I would have a relatable image of that seat that I want that student to sit in. So it would most likely, I would try to get an image that looks just like that seat. And I would say sit. Now, for a person that cannot sit, you can't expect them to sit there for half an hour. So I use a timer as well. I like to get a timer, and I say 2 minutes. And trust me, guys, these people, these students, they're so smart. They will figure it out, and just do that routinely with them, say for a week. And by the next week, they have grasped onto it. I promise you. So routine and visuals. You're teaching somebody to sit, show them a relatable picture of that seat. Keep repetitive. Be very repetitive with your language. You have to use your language and use the same language each time as you're using the same visual each time. And just do that every day. I had a case with a student. He was very, very low. I'll continue to tell you guys more about this student when he on in this conversation. But in this one instance, this one example, I would walk into the case. He was the lowest boy I've ever dealt with. I'm telling you, Asha, when I got that case, I was like, oh my God, I'm a loser. What do I do? This boy, Asha, could not even put two hands together to clap. He did not have that core muscle strength to be able to do that. And I was so, I came home and I would think and I would bust my brains. I would talk to the psychologist. We were all on board with the same thoughts and ideas, and we just had no idea what to do now. And I just started what I know. I just started with what I know. I started with the routine, and I started with the pictures. And right before COVID happened, when I walk in and I tell him, okay, clean up, he would clean up, because guess what? He got used to that picture and that visual and my language. And he started to do it within a month. He started to do it. If I said, throw in the garbage. So I would use one word. I wouldn't make it like a whole sentence. I would start with one word. Garbage. He started to throw things in the garbage. But, in the first few times, of course, you have to be very directional. You have to show them what the garbage is. You have to walk with them there. So that's what I did. And by the end of COVID, by the beginning of COVID, we really started to see some big improvements, and I was so happy because, like I told you, I walked in there and I was dealing with a kid, a little boy who didn't know how to put two hands together to clap, and it was one of my lowest cases, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? So again, routine and images. Another thing is give choices. So I have an approach where I use first this and then that. So it's a chart, and it's pretty much just first. Okay, on one side of the chart you have first, and then on the second side you have that then visuals. So a lot of students, I find that, they have a lot of behavioral problems, and they don't have the concept of time. They don't have the concept of waiting. They don't have the understanding of it. So you have to kind of create, this chart for them, or something for them to see visually again. So the chart is first this, then that. And in that first section, you would put a picture of what you want them to do first. So if I want them to, let's say, I want them to do a worksheet right now, and then they can go to the playground, I would have a picture of a worksheet, and then I would have a picture of a playground. And, you really use that, and it takes a lot of work, because you have to be constantly printing visuals, and I like to laminate, so I'm always laminating my life out just so I can have it for tomorrow and have it for another day, have it for another student if possible. But pictures and visuals, and like I said, first this, then that, and you have to be very, very, very strong. Your commands have to be in place. A lot of kids do not like they don't like these commands. They will act out, they will throw the worst, they would be the worst. But like I said, you come back to it. If it's not working right now, let them be. You come back to it. Autistic children also do not have the concept of time, like I said. So you're really just trying to show them, like, okay, it's all right. You want to act out right now? That's fine. We will come back to it. And again, you use a timer. So these are just a few things: routine, visuals, commands, timers, the first this and then that approach. These are just a few things that I will touch on. If so, and again, your sister and your friend would like help, I would totally send them, a lot of resources, a lot of charts, a lot of things that can probably help your sister's son and help your friend to move forward. And your friend is an adult, so she has good understanding, and like you said, she's very, very smart. So I think with her it will be much easier. With your sister's son, it will just take a village, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine.
So Samantha,
to just open up to the idea now, and I love that you're shedding light.
So Samantha, sorry to disturb you there,
Yes,
to
Asha?
interrupt you. So you're telling me one of the ways, basically, for people to understand a little more common grounds is that it's like a photographic memory you're creating in their minds.
Well, you don't want it to be a memory. You want it to be very physical. Very physical. Whether is it you're creating a vision board where you have it, let's say you could create it like a schedule type of output, or you can create it like a board output. However it makes sense to you. I can share a couple examples of there are different types of ways you can do a visionary board. And some work better than some for some kids. They're all autistic kids. One of the things with them, they're all very different. Some kids may have verbal disabilities, while some they're just having behavioral issues. So it just depends on what the area is you're targeting. But again, visuals will work, and the vision boards will work, but there are just different types of outlets in vision boards that you can use.
Okay, nice.
That makes sense?
Yeah, to me, yeah.
Okay.
Parents who are overwhelmed by autistic or special needs children, what advice would you give parents who are...
Tell me, what else?
Yeah, parents who have autistic or special needs children, what advice would you give to them about time management for themselves and also for their kids? What would you suggest?
Okay, so throughout COVID, we all in America, we were all doing virtual learning, right? So a lot of my parents, they had to work, and yet they had to sign on to be able to get services from myself, from the psychologist, and from all the therapists. What I would say is start small steps. At the beginning of COVID, we started with 15 minutes of virtual time, and then eventually we extended that time. Some of these students, they don't like screens. Some of them they have light, like the light bothers their faces and that type of issue. So we started with small steps. Now, in dealing with the kids and trying to manage your time, I would say if you have, again, it's very important that you have a support system. If you have a support system, It's not like, you're handing them off, but everybody needs that time for themselves. So, if you can get an hour in the day just to do what you need to do, whether it's take a shower and do some self-care, you have to help yourself before you can help that kid. If you're going into this frustrated, you're going into this like, oh my God, this is not going to work. You're going into this very negatively. It's not going to work. I promise you, it's not going to work. You have to give yourself that space, that time, that mindset, that thinking, and you just have to allow yourself to be able to know that, okay, let's give this a shot, and be positive about it. You have to have a positive. I can tell you this. There's days that we are not in the mood, right? And those are the days that I find, like, when I've had bad days too, and those are the days where I feel like my students read me and they tend to act out. So I feel like they can read you. So you do have to go into this with a positive outlook. And the only way to do that is to be able to have that time for yourself. Whether it's an hour, just so that grandma can look at the kid or daddy can look at the kid, and occupy them with something else. You just have to have that time. Give yourself that space and that self-care, and then you can do it again. Again, if, he's not ready, you come back to it later. It doesn't make sense going into it and, the kid is acting out. That doesn't make sense. So you let it be and you come back to it tomorrow, you come back to it later, or something of that sort. But yeah, you have to take care of yourself first before you can tend to anyone else.
Nice. I don't know if you're seeing the comments, if you would like to answer anyone. I don't know if you're able to see the comments on the page. Are you?
No, I'm not on Facebook right now. I'm
Okay.
actually just
On the phone. Okay. All right. So maybe I can read a comment for
I
you.
wanted to tell you guys about that kid.
The what?
Yeah, also read a few comments.
Yes.
But if there's anyone, that would like my help, like I said, I have a team of people that I've learned so much from. I'm still very young in the field, and I've learned so much from these people. They're much older than I, and they have so much experience, like the psychologists and the doctors and all these people. So if anyone needs my help in Trinidad, I know, resources are tight. I've done some research, which is a whole different topic in Trinidad, where I know a lot of you are paying for these services. And if you feel like you're really at a place where you need to reach out to someone and you need help, and Asha would like to be that outlet for you. Definitely do reach out to Asha, and I will get my team on board, and we can definitely share some things with you, some resources with you. We can guide you. We can probably have some videos done. That's some things we can do. So definitely reach out to Asha, and if we don't get to answer your questions today, just reach out to Asha, and she will let me know, and we can probably create like a little private group chat or something like that, and move forward.
Right. So all you parents out there in the Caribbean, third world countries, developing nations, Guyana, wherever you are, and you have a special need kid, what Samantha and I is offering to you guys are help, a little extra help, because perhaps you are unable to get the resources. So even if it's to talk with someone about how you coping with your special need kid, if you want more information on how to deal with your special need kid and to help them along with their schoolwork and whatnot, Samantha has a team that she can put together to give you some reading materials. Samantha and I would try to do little videos, perhaps a little 15-minute video, educational video, and we would share it on the page for you all to understand how to cope with and how to help your special need kids out there. Even adults, we have some adults in Trinidad and Tobago who are autistic, and they're laughed upon and people don't understand them, they're mocked and stuff like that. So we want to help the public to have a better understanding of special needs kids and adults also. So that's basically what Samantha and I here are doing together with
Yeah.
her team of psychologists and teachers and stuff. So is there anything else, Samantha, you would like to...
I was
Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually was doing some research, and I don't know how recent. I think this research was done by Christopher. Let me reference him. I don't want to take anyone's credit. Christopher Johnson at the University of Minnesota, and he did a survey on teachers in Trinidad. And basically, to sum up, what this survey included, it reported that they lack knowledge of other aspects of inclusive education. For example, only 42% of teachers reported that they well understood what is necessary to teach in an inclusive classroom. Another 44% of teachers said that they somewhat understand what is necessary. Finally, only 6% respondents had a lot of experience with curriculum differentiation. And finally, what stood out to me was only 4% of teachers had a lot of knowledge with individualized education programs. That's called an IEP, Individualized Education Program, IEP. So when your child is assessed and diagnosed, in America, they're given an IEP, and basically the IEP is like their backbone. That IEP travels with them from school to school and from cases to cases. And what that IEP entails is a good deal of goals that these specialists, such as myself, will work on. So if I start on a certain amount of goals, and then that kid or that student, that adult, goes to another facility, another school, they can use that same IEP outlet to look at what they've done and what they're working on and what they need to accomplish in that periodic time. So in Trinidad, I'm not sure how, if it's even called an IEP. I'm guessing it is. But it was just fascinating to see that only 4% of teachers had a lot of knowledge about what an IEP is. That to me just stood out, and that made me more motivational to have this conversation with Asha and be able to speak with the Caribbean community on the topic and shed light on it, like I said, and make it like I said, developing cross-cultural competence, and having acceptance, and starting to see that this is the new norm. A lot of people are being diagnosed, and it's not bad. If you ask me, we all can be diagnosed in some way. I don't know if I've been working with these people for so long that I want to diagnose everybody, but I feel like we all can be diagnosed in some way or the other,
So Samantha, we have one of our commenters asking, one of our viewers are asking, what are the traits of a child being autistic? How do you recognize that, or how do you know that your child is autistic? What do you have to do? Do you get them tested? What signs to look for?
Okay, so sorry, my throat is so dry. You have to look for behavioral signs. Sometimes, like I said, each autistic kid, they're not the same. They all have different IEPs. So what things that would stand out is behavior-wise. They're acting out. They're getting frustrated. They're really throwing some serious tantrums. It's like they're not understanding, or they're not comprehending when you're speaking to them. Because small kids, you can speak to them and they still do understand, even though they don't have language yet. They will still understand, but there would be something in behavior that stands out as to that kid is just not understanding me. It's like going through one ear and coming out the other. So behavior challenges. Then there would be, if at a certain age they're not speaking, that would be one thing to look out for. Again, if you find that they're just not understanding you when you speak, that would be two of the main things, I think. Behaviors. Social skills also is a very big one. Some autistic kids, they just stay by themselves. They don't interact with anyone. They don't Making eye contact is totally out of sync. They make no eye contact. It's like you're talking to a wall because they're looking all over, but at you. So those are just a few. And how do you get them assessed? You go to your pediatrician or your local doctor, child doctor, and you tell them these are the things I'm seeing, and I would like to know where I can get my child assessed. And usually, in New York, when they're that small and they're not even in school yet, a team of people will collaborate and would go to the parent's house, and they would assess the child. So it would be a team of specialists like OT, a PT, and a speech. They would go to the house and they would assess the child, and they would see if that child needs services, and that's where the process will begin. I understand in Trinidad you guys have to pay for it, so I'm not sure how it works. But that would pretty much be the way you do it. You just start with the doctor, tell them, you really want to reach out to these people, can you advise me on where and how? But it would take your pediatrician to make that decision as well. Your pediatrician should also be able to tell you if they see signs of autism.
Okay, nice.
So I'm answering these questions coherently, because I feel like I talk about it all day, so sometimes I may just skip over things, because I'm always talking about it with other people I work with. So it's like, I don't want to skip over anything and not go into detail. Yeah. So
it's a broad spectrum to speak on, and it will take more than half an hour to an hour to speak.
Yeah, so definitely. I'm rushing here.
I know. So perhaps we can do this. Yeah, perhaps we can do in half an hour or 45 minutes when you have the time, once a week or once every 2 weeks, to help parents a little more understanding and how to cope with it, because we can't just, cram everything into one video.
That's what I did right now. I told you guys
in a nutshell.
I told you guys about me, my educational background. I told you guys about different disabilities, the different types. I named 7 of them. I also included a few strategies. I told you about the one low-functioning student I had. So I feel like I was just putting everything. Yeah,
I know. And then we have viewers are asking about ADHD and Asperger's and all these other symptom autistic.
Yes, so those would be different things to address at different times. I wouldn't want to put everything
yes.
in one.
I agree. So basically this was just the breaking ice for the viewers, the followers, the listeners to understand, and then if they have a certain topic in this bracket to address, perhaps you can assist again in another video of just dealing with that one topic, if it's ADHD or if it's Asperger's or whatever the viewers are asking for. I can keep in touch with you, and you can perhaps, when you have the time, to spare us at least half an hour of your time, and it would be greatly appreciated. I know everyone here on the live is looking at you. Everyone on the live is listening. They're learning. Yes.
I hope I'm getting some positive.
Extremely. So Julie is asking a question. Julie wants to ask a question. Julie Deodat, you can ask your question and I will read it for her. Right? So, yes, you have a lot of questions, a lot of positivity. Everyone is asking. Nobody's mean. And, it's something very educational that we would all love for you to continue doing with us. Because I feel the need, especially in third world countries or developing nations, because my sister has a child who's a special need kid, and it takes her 45 minutes to get him to sit for 3 minutes. And she is getting frustrated. I know she is. And, the resource, it's about who does she turn to? Who understands her? She doesn't have that backbone support of in-laws or anyone to sit with her and said, yeah. So that's one of the things that lack, basically. When you don't have that backbone support, it makes it harder for parents, for moms, to deal with their special needs children. Yeah.
Right. Over
Nigel
the
Charles is
COVID
saying that you're a
season,
talented teacher and to keep up the great work. Nigel Charles is saying that to you.
oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Uh, over the COVID season, now that's the season, right? Over the time, I remember telling parents because they were getting frustrated, and again, you have that you're not getting that break or that time for yourself. They're used to their students, their kids going off to school, or being handled by the caseworkers such as myself, and now they don't have that space, right?
Yeah.
And I remember telling them exactly what I told you guys. If there's a grandma or a grandpa or dad or somebody you can just get an hour of self-care for, you would be able to tend to that child, 100 times better. But if you're frustrated and you're overwhelmed and you're tired and, you just, it takes a lot out of you. At the end of the day, I'm exhausted mentally and physically. Like, I come home sometimes and I'm not. Out because my brain is just roasted.
It takes a lot of patience.
It reminds me of that same kid. It takes a lot of work. It's not. I feel like I should be getting paid a lot.
We have Nazima. We have Nazima asking. We have Nazima asking, at what age should you be concerned about their language? I don't know if it's her language or their speech. She's asking that.
I think children start fairly talking around the age of 2. They start doing babbling, within a few months. And then they should have good language, fair amount by 2. So if they're not doing the babblings and they're not doing certain, sounds or phonological things by 2, then you should definitely get help from your pediatrician and seek other services to be assessed.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was telling you guys about this kid at the very beginning, how low functioning he was, Asha, and he was so low that we know it just couldn't be autism. So we told mom, we said, please do go and get another testing. I won't name the testing that she did, but I said, please go and do this testing and see what it is, because this just cannot be autism. He was just that low, right? And she did. And listen to this. He had a deletion syndrome, which is called 22q11.2 deletion syndrome. Weird. So weird. I've never heard of it before. It stays in my head forever. And basically, it's a disorder caused by the deletion of a small piece of chromosome 22. And the deletion occurs right near the middle of the chromosome at the end, Q11.2. That's how their technological way of putting it. But I knew, and these other personnels I work with, they knew it just couldn't be autism. So sometimes, my point of saying this is sometimes they can diagnose you with autism, but sometimes it could just be something else in addition to autism. Because when we got this back, the characteristics of this syndrome is so many things, including heart defects, palate differences, weak muscle tone, hypertonia, hearing loss, immune system defects. The list goes on. Behavioral learning differences. Then there's the autism and the Asperger. So it was just a whole list of things. So sometimes, if you're assessed and you feel like, you're getting services and it's not working, sometimes you have to get them assessed again and get some testing done. And, all of that costs money, but, that's the only way of finding out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I've learned a lot today that I didn't even know of.
Yeah, it's a lot to talk about. I'm telling you, it's a lot to
Have you ever dealt with adults?
I gave you guys a concession. Huh?
Have you ever dealt with adults and their behavior?
Dealt with adults. Oh my God. So like I said, said, I think we can all be diagnosed in some way, shape, or form. I feel like, you know, some adults, like they do display some things. You know, we've all been down that road with family, Asha, and you know, my advice to you is, and your story is, just be strong as you are. You know, continue to inspire people. You know, you have a good platform. You have many followers, which is why I think this was a good place for me to reach out to the community and to the Caribbean community specifically. You know, and you're so beautiful. You're doing a great job. Always stand up for yourself. I recently had to do it quite a lot, and I'm telling you, from my own experiences, like you get consumed into the negativity, and you know, you forget about your life. Like, I live in New York, right? I mean, anybody who lives in New York, you know, when you go to work and you come home, you're tired, you're drained, you don't have time for all of that, right? And it's really, you know, it's not easy here. It's not easy living in America. It's not, you know, you're on a constant schedule. This comes this, then that, you know, you're on a schedule. You don't have time for that stuff. And I'll tell you, it's so easy to get consumed into the negativity that I had to take a step back and remind myself, like, yo, what are you doing? You know, like, take it easy, take it back. You don't need that. You don't need that in your life. So, you know, I've also dealt with my share of negativity with family and, you know, fortunately not friends, but family. And, you know, sometimes you just have to, like, let them be and do what they do. And you do you.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's for me. That tip is for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am trying.
You're doing an amazing job.
Yes,
Okay?
I'm trying.
Again, you have a lot of women that follow you, and you have that support. So like you are doing, use it positively, and you know, just continue to inspire people. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I will do my best with the help of all of you. So,
Yes.
in closing, would you like to say anything more?
So my takeaway from this is, what's my takeaway? Let's see. So my takeaway from this is, you know, I'm thinking of your friend, your adult friend who has who's special.
She Asperger's, yeah.
And what I can say is, it doesn't matter if you have your special needs. It doesn't matter if you're normal. People will always, you know, try to say something against you. And, you know, you just have to keep pushing forward and do what's best for you. Take care of your children. You know, these kids of special needs, don't let family talk them down or bring them down. Don't feel embarrassed. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, you know, different cultures have different ways of viewing it. Some view it as sin to be born that way. Maybe the parents are bad people, you know, the dad did this or the mother is that, and that's why the child was born like that. You know, don't listen to any of that. No, that's not going to help. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's definitely not paying your bills, and it's not going to help your child. So it's not going to help your friend. So listening to the negative stuff. So basically, you know, block the negative and just focus on you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Samantha. You are amazing, young, intelligent woman. I appreciate it very, very much. All my followers, all the listeners appreciating you. They are commending you very much about your intelligence. Even though
I'm from Trinidad, so I am happy. I'm happy to represent. Like I said, my parents came here when a few years ago, 20 years ago actually, and you know, I'm happy that I was able to get my education and stuff from being from the Caribbean, like, as you may know, Asha, education is so important. Like, everything my dad said. Unfortunately, my dad passed now, but everything was education. Education. Samantha, go to school. Samantha, do this. Samantha, do that. And I remember when he passed, I kind of fell out of school, and I'm like, oh God, what do I do with myself? And I'm like, this is not what I want to do. I was just hanging out, and I was just doing me. And I remember thinking to myself, no, this is not what I want to be doing. So I went back to school, and now I'm pursuing a doctorate, and I have Harvard recognition. So I'm so proud of myself, and my mommy's so proud, so I'm so happy.
And I'm very proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you.
I just want to make my mom happy. I'm telling you, I just want to make my mom happy. I'm married. I want to make my husband happy. I definitely want to make my kids happy. I feel like I don't have kids yet, but I feel like I'm already setting the stage for them, you know? And that's all my intentions are. I don't care about anybody and anything and what people say and what people do, but I'm so happy as well to represent Trinidad and knowing I came from there and here I am. So, nothing is impossible.
Thank you very much, Samantha. It was a pleasure having you on board with us, and I really hope we can continue to help some of these parents in the islands, especially our little island, Trinidad and Tobago, both of us being Trinis. You with all the knowledge on your theme, and I am learning also. And thank you very, very much for all your informative thoughts and everything that you've given tonight. It's greatly, greatly appreciated by everyone who's listening and locked on. And again, in the near future, we can perhaps do little videos. You can do little 15 minutes videos where I can share teaching the parents, show them some little this and that they can do to help their kids and themselves.
Oh, Asha, lastly, to any family members that would like my help financially, please reach out to Asha, and we will pick. Sorry, we have to pick, but we will pick who really needs the help. And you have to have small children, even if they're not autistic or in that sense. Even if they are autistic and you need help with assessment and paying for it and stuff like that, maybe we can work that out. Or whether it's just that you need help at home. So reach out to Asha, and I will definitely be in contact with her, because I would love to help these kids in my country.
Thank you very much, Samantha. We love you. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate all that you have said this afternoon. And hopefully we can break it down into one at a time so these ladies can learn some more and help themselves and their kids. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Samantha. Love you. Have a beautiful night and take care. God bless you.
Thank you. Talk soon.
So guys, that's Samantha from New York, and thank you very much. We appreciate her having on our program, and we would try to do as much as we can to help parents who have special needs children. Samantha is also reaching out that if you all, she's going to choose. Sorry that we have to choose, because we can't save the world and help everyone, but we can choose little by little in our country to help some of you parents, even if it's to get your kids tested, even if it's just to speak to a psychologist here in the United States free of charge. We're going to do that. And, because of the COVID-19, a lot of people are not working, and we are going to try to assist. I am in the process of making 2 barrels to send to Trinidad. So if anyone would like to contribute to sending any stuff, clothing, food stuff, canned food, anything, something like what you all around the world did for the hurricane victims in Louisiana, we are in the process of sending 2 barrels to Trinidad. And then we would try to send 2 barrels to Guyana, because I have a lot of followers there also. We can only do a little at a time, ladies. We cannot save the world. I cannot send a 20-foot container. I can only send what we receive. I am a non-profit organization. It's not funded by a company or the government or anything. I am in the process of closing my foundation in Trinidad and Tobago. It doesn't make sense there to me, but I would because when I miss my payments, when I miss my filling out my tax, I always paying the government in Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm closing my foundation in Trinidad and Tobago because I have thus opened a legal foundation here in United States where my resources are, where I can assist the people in my country, the women, the young kids, the unfortunate, as much as we can in Trinidad and Tobago, in Guyana, Barbados, Grenada. We are going to expand as the years come by. So reason being, I closed the foundation in Trinidad and Tobago. It's not because anyone was bad to me or any negativity or anything. It just doesn't make sense having it there because I am over here. So what best place to use your resources where you are available at and to help the less fortunate around the world. So I love you guys and have a blessed and a beautiful night. Hit me up in our inbox if you would like to ask some more questions. If you would like to have questions for Samantha, I'm going to give Samantha the questions, and she'll be prepared for our next video when she has the time to grace us with her, with her presence. So I love you guys very, very much. Thank you all for locking in. God bless each and every one of you, and have a blessed and a beautiful night, and enjoy your Sunday tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.